Hi wonderful people, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my channel where we share content on the Christian faith, health, money and lifestyle. So today I created a video on my channel, which I'll link somewhere, about shared ownership and the process of doing shared ownership. And one of my subscribers in the comments asked about how did I actually go through this staircasing process. So this is what this video is about. Just if you already are on the shared ownership program, what you need to do and what you need to know if you're considering staircasing rather than selling and moving on to another property. So let's get straight into it. So first things first, what is staircasing? Staircasing is the process of being able to purchase more of a property after you've made an initial purchase. So with shared ownership, you have the opportunity to buy a percentage of a property. So say for example, if a property is 200,000, you can buy 50% of that and buy 100,000, which means you only need to raise a deposit for the 100,000. Staircasing is deciding after maybe 2 or 3 years, maybe you want to buy another 25%, so you pay less rent, and that is what staircasing is. But you can only actually staircase 3 times. So some shared ownership properties, people buy a 25% margin or percentage of the property at the first go, and then it might go up to 50%, then 75%, and then 100%. You can only do it 3 times, but each and every time you will have to pay all the costs, which we're going to discuss, and go through the whole process. So I'm with a specific housing association. I won't necessarily mention their name, but there are things they don't tell you about. So let me just give you a bit of a backstory about my story. So we bought our property in 2015. We bought 50% of the property. Do check out the video when you have a time to find out more of our process of buying the property. We bought the property in 2015. We only bought 50% of it, and within the contract it did mention that the rents are going to be doubling to match inflation. So we were paying about £400 a month in rent, but they were saying maybe by 2020 the rent might go up to £800 to match market rates. So we knew if we don't buy this property as soon as possible, our rent is going to go up and we'll have nothing to show for it, because when you're paying rent, you don't see any of that money. So we started trying to make plans on trying to get and buy the other half of the property. Another issue that we personally had, which most people probably wouldn't have, is that we had a low lease on our property. So we only had 83 years. So we had to make a decision that if we're going to extend the buy the other half of the property, then we also need to extend the lease. So that was another added expenses. So let me just take you through our real experience of what happened. So what actually happened was I was panicked, because we didn't have any money. I was thinking, where are we actually going to find, if we want to buy the other half, if the market rate's gone up? Because I saw online that one of my neighbours, their property had gone up by £50,000. So I'm thinking, if we're going to be buying the other half, that means our property value has gone up, which is a good thing, but also a bad thing if you don't have money. It's gone up by 50,000, but so we own 50%, so that's only gone up by £25,000. So we're going to have to find the deposit for that half based on market rate. So the first things we had to do was contact our housing association. We contacted them via email saying that we're interested in purchasing the other half of the property. They sent an email back saying in order to proceed, we have to pay an admin fee. That's a fee they don't necessarily tell you about. So it was about £600 for an admin fee and to get the property surveyed. So we had to pay for their admin fees to acknowledge that we want to buy the other half, and we had to pay for them to bring out a surveyor to come and survey the house. We also had to get our own personal surveyor to survey the house for the mortgage for the banks, for them to be aware of it as well. So these are 2 expenses that we've had to pay nearly £1,000 without even getting anywhere with anything. This is just to check how much this property is going to cost us. So that was the first thing that happened. The second thing was we hired a mortgage advisor. It was somebody we knew and we were recommended, so we thought we would rather pay I think it was about £250 for them to sort everything out for us rather than us doing it manually ourselves. So this mortgage advisor took all our bank statements, found out how much we were expending, did all our eligibility costing, found different banks who were willing to offer mortgages to us. So they did a heavy amount of work for the amount we paid them, so which was great. So that was another £250 or so we had to pay them. So the issue was the property had actually gone up only by £10,000 based on the surveying reports that we received, which was a good but a bad thing. So that means we only had £5,000 extra in equity in the 50% we already owned. So that means over the last 4 years or so, how much we've been paying towards the mortgage plus an extra 5,000. So it wasn't a lot. So a lot of banks, when they're offering remortgaging, they only offer remortgaging where you have to put a deposit of 15%. But we only had 10% based on the overall amount of the property. So we had to find a bank that was willing to give us a mortgage based on 90% being mortgaged. So that was helped via our mortgage advisor. So after that, all calculations were done. We had the surveyors come in, we had all of that, we had all the calculations. Then we had to find a solicitor. That was a job within itself, because the housing association, when it's like they own you, it's like they own you. So they send you a list of solicitors they will recommend, and they will sometimes say they're only willing to work with these solicitors only. So you're having to pay out maybe a premium price because these are the recommended solicitors that the housing association are willing to work with. So that was another thing. The good thing is we found a very, very good solicitor, but it was between two solicitors for us. One solicitor spoke to me, was very nice, very kind, and I must admit, I really prayed about all of this. When I was going through the whole process, I was like, God, you have to make a way, because we can't afford all of this, but you have to make a way for us to afford it. And he really did come through. So one solicitor we spoke to was a lady. She was very like, yeah, I can get it done, bish bosh bash, yeah, I can get it done. But then whenever I called her, she never answered, and I was just like, I can't proceed with somebody who doesn't answer my calls. The second person was very eager, keen, was willing to help, and I told him our circumstances, what we needed. So one thing to bear in mind is when it comes to shared ownership and maybe lease extensions, is a very niche process. It's a very niche process than maybe buying a normal mortgage from the open market. So you need to have a solicitor who's specialized in shared ownership and lease extensions if you need to extend the lease as well. So that was a battle within itself as well. So we found one who was very familiar with shared ownership, was very familiar with the legal proceedings of extending leases, doing extending it to maybe the original prime time, or doing 90 years extra. All of that, he was very knowledgeable about it and gave us the confidence that he'll be able to get it all done for us within a certain time frame. Another thing is, once you put through your process and say you do want to extend your staircase and buy the other half, you have a time frame of about 3 months. I don't know, it might differ from housing association to another, but you have 3 months to get everything done. If you don't get it done, you have to start the whole process again. And we had like 2 weeks or so left, because we were trying to gather the money, we're trying to get the money for the lease extension, so things were a bit delayed. The housing association not getting back to us on time, not responding to our emails, sending us the different information after sending us a different type of information. So it was a lot of back and forth, but finally we were able to get it all done by this solicitor literally a day or two before the final deadline, where we'll have to start all over again. So that's something also to bear in mind, that once you initiate the process of staircasing, you better get your coins together. Yeah, so that was our experience of staircasing. We literally went from 50% to 100%, because something to bear in mind, even if you go up by 10%, you still have to pay the admin fees, you have to pay for the surveyor's fees, you have to pay for your own surveyor's fees, you have to get your mortgage remortgaged, you have to go through the whole process. So you're better off saving your money and then buying the other half, or buying whatever's left in one go, in one sitting if possible. So I just want to say, by 2020, we are proud owners of our property. We still have to pay, when you live in a flat or that has communal areas, you still have to pay ground rent. You also have to pay property management services. So we still pay maybe about an extra £150 a month to the housing association and pay our mortgage rate every month as well. So I just want to say, I hope this gives you a bit more clarity on the process of staircasing, a real experience. I hope if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. Do comment below. Are you considering staircasing? Are you considering just buying out the place? If you're considering selling the property as well, there are restrictions and things to bear in mind. You have to contact the housing association. They have to agree and promote it for you for about 8 weeks. They have to put it on their market for 8 weeks first before you're allowed to put it in the open market. So that's something to consider. And you still have to go through the process of getting it surveyed by yourself and your own solicitor, their solicitors, everything, and all of those fees. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe and put your notification button on. Bye.